everybody. This is Allison Haikila, and this is my very first voiceover. So if things are a little weird, I apologize. We're going to make a birthday card. I've got some Kaleidacolor here in Tahiti, and this ink pad is so cool. I've got some ink potion number 9. That's ink blending solution. I love using that stuff. We've got a brayer, and we've got the Twinkle Stars stencil from A Colorful Life Designs, our card base, and some smooth Bristol cardstock. So the Kaleidacolor ink pads are really cool because you click them together and then you automatically get this really awesome rainbow of color. There are so many combinations. They're beautiful. You can even get a dry one that you can create your own by using re-inkers. So now I'm just spraying the ink potion number 9 on there, and that is a blending solution that is different from the Tim Holtz blending solution. That stuff is used for alcohol inks, and this is used for water-based dye inks, and it just helps the migration of the color to move around a little bit. So I just rolled that out onto my Bristol. I'm heat setting it a little bit just so that, not that it's going to move again, but just so that it's nice and dry, because now we are going to tape this down and apply our stencil on top, and we're going to use some ink on there. But look at that pretty rainbow of color that we've got going there. I'm realizing now that my camera was totally crooked the whole time, and I apologize that my glass mat is in a weird position. So I grabbed some Distress Oxide in Vintage Photo. I thought it would be nice to use a deep brown on this. This way the card can be pretty much for anyone. I like using these grungy kind of colors. Vintage Photo has always been one of my favorites. So I just blended that on quickly with a blending brush, and now I'm going to peel that off. And see all that ink that's on that stencil? I actually saved that and I threw it onto another piece of cardstock, and I'll use that at another time. So now I have the bold sayings from Tim Holtz. I seriously love those stamps. They're fantastic. And I'm going to apply that happy birthday wishes to you stamp on there with some VersaMark ink, because I want to use clear bark embossing powder on top of that. Clear bark is from Stampendous. It is a translucent embossing powder, so it's not opaque. You can see through it, and I really like that effect because you can kind of get a hint of that stenciled image underneath. It's very subtle, but it's super shiny and very cool. So I've got my VersaMark going on there, doing a second coat just to make sure that I've got a good solid application. Now these bold sayings have a bit of grittiness to them. They're not a totally solid image, so you will see some holes in the end embossed image, but it's supposed to be that way. But I wanted to make sure that the rest of the stamp that's supposed to be there is actually nice and crisp. So there's that clear bark embossing powder, and I threw that on there, and it doesn't look like a whole lot right now. I did dry the panel before I applied the powder, or really the VersaMark ink, and then I used my embossing powder bag on top of that. So now I'm just heat setting it, and you can watch the whole glorious thing happen. Do you enjoy watching embossing powder melt? It's one of my favorite things. It's always been one of my favorite things about paper crafting, is watching embossing powder melt. Look at that shine. And again, you can see a little bit of that stenciled image behind. So now one of the things that I always like to do is I like to paint my card base. I don't usually leave it plain white. Sometimes I do, but usually I use my sprays, whatever kind of spray I have, and I just coordinate it to my top layer. So I'm just painting on some Salvaged Patina Distress Oxide. I didn't want it to be super bold. I wanted it to, have that oxidized look. So I'm just painting that on with a brush. Make sure that you wash your brush off really well, making sure that that looks good. And then I'm going to add some of the Salvaged Patina spray stain to my background, or my top layer really, because it's just that top layer that I've got. And I use the spray stain because that's got some more vibrancy Oxide does. So I splattered that all over my background. I think it looks really cool. And now I'm just going to glue my top layer there right onto my card base. This is a nice flat card that will mail super easily. And that's pretty much it. So I just wanted to, honestly, the reason I did this is because I wanted to do my first voiceover, but I wanted to show you a quick way to use Kaleidacolor inks to get a background super quickly. Here are a couple of photos to take a look at the finished card, and I've got some fun videos for you to watch at the end. So thanks so much for hanging out today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace out.